Well, Angela sent a great email the other day, and it said, I'm 38, married, and I have 2 girls, 8 and 3. I'm also a teacher, and I don't understand how I'm supposed to get my house under control when I work all day. Because when I come home, I drive my girls around to their extracurriculars, do the dishes, do laundry, do lunches, set clothes out for the next day, give the girls baths, take a shower, and if I'm lucky, go to bed at a decent hour so that I can wake up at 5 a.m. to do it all over again. Now, I know I have weekends and summer vacation, but LOL, I'm just exhausted, recharging my battery and spending quality time with my family during those times. And so I thought this was such a great question. I know so many can relate to it. And so I invited Dawn to dive into it with us. And so we're going to talk about that coming up next. So we wanted to give Mary Beth a well-deserved break. And I saw this question and I thought you would be a great person to tackle it with me. Oh, and Mary Beth has had a couple great videos on this very same topic recently. So if you haven't had a chance to check those out, make sure you watch those next. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Dawn, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and a homeschool mom, and I love Jesus. I am married to my husband, Ben, and we have 3 kids, 13 and under. And then I have a YouTube channel that I've just started a few months ago called Living by Heart, where we really try to inspire women to connect with God and their families on a deeper level and really look at how to practically integrate faith into real life.
Yes.
So that's been a lot of fun.
So what we did first when I got this question is I actually posed it in our Facebook group and I said, all right, what do you all think? Because I had a couple ideas in my head. And basically what we came up with is, would it be possible to take a little time off from the extracurriculars? Maybe just say for the fall, we're not going to do dance. Also, we talked about how this idea that 5 minutes matters. So even when you only have a few minutes, still just saying like, it's worthwhile. I'm going to jump in and declutter our work for a little bit. So those were kind of our 2 best things we came up with. And so here's what Angela then came back with. She said, your tips are super helpful. I totally understand the take a break from extracurriculars, but I just could never punish my kids because I can't be a grown-up. LOL, I'm going to try the other tips first. And so what struck me was the part where it said, I just could never punish my kids because I can't be a grown-up. And I think many of us feel that way, that we can't get our act together, and that's the problem right now.
100%. I mean, don't you just want to first of all, just give this mom a big hug? I feel like, or a big coffee, one of the 2, where you just have so much compassion for her because I completely get it. I'm sure you completely get it. There is no shortage of things to do and opportunities to have. And yet I'm not hearing any self-compassion in her response. And so clearly she holds a belief that I think all of us occasionally fall into of, I should be able to do it all.
Yes.
And that is 100% a lie. And we know this, and some of us know this and still have that pitfall. So great compassion for this mom, for sure.
Yeah. And so I thought, Dawn, as I was thinking about this, I love, because you always put positive spins on things and you reframe things in a very positive way. So I'm like, okay, how could we reframe this in a positive way? And so actually, Tom and I went to a real estate seminar one time. It was talking about selling real estate. And he said, I love to play the dream world scenario with people. If you could move anywhere, if you could live in any house, where would you go? And he said, often things come out in that conversation of what they're looking for in their next house that they don't normally tell me. Usually they're focused on beds and baths and square footage. But he's like, when we start to play that you could live anywhere, that's when it comes out well, I would love to have a pond in the backyard, or I would love to have a master suite with heated floors in the bathroom because I'm so tired of having cold feet, And he was like, it's fun to hear those things because that actually gives me a better idea. And I was like, wow, I think we could play this dream world scenario with our calendar. And I think some things might come out that actually kind of surprise us. So I actually have
yay! Ooh.
I have a blank week here. And so I was thinking, Dawn, maybe we could build out your perfect week, and maybe that would be a great example.
And then you could send it to me so that I could live by it.
And you could share it with your husband and be like, hey, I created a new schedule. Right? Yeah, give me the big one. What's your,
so I would say, as a person of faith, I'm going to put God at the top. And
Okay.
when I
What day should we put God on? You have to tell me days and times through here.
Okay, we're getting really specific. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, every day I feel
Okay.
like I'm a better mom and I'm a
Yep.
better person in general when I have some time with Jesus before my day starts.
Okay.
So,
How much time are we blocking off?
I need at least 30 minutes. How about
Okay.
you?
Okay. Yep. That's good. I just got to get this on here. I'm having a hard time showing it while I'm doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And anytime on like Sunday or Saturday night, or when do you guys?
Right. So we do church on Sunday mornings.
And then is there any like midweek stuff, like for either you or your kids that's important?
Yes, so we do a Wednesday night youth group for our kids, and I would say that that's really a high point for their faith connection and community too. So yes, beautiful.
What's another rock that's really important?
Okay, so if you're married, I would say marriage should come next.
Yeah.
And what does that really look like? My husband and I do what's called talk time. I know everything at our house is a time. So talk time, we either do it in the morning for 10 minutes or in the evening for 10 minutes.
Okay.
And that's a daily thing.
Ben is going to be blue.
Excellent.
Okay. And how about like, I mean, that's great to do a little bit of time every day, but how about like date night or like something like that?
Right. So for us, that hasn't happened more than monthly where we
Well,
actually...
this is our dream week. Remember?
Oh. Okay. Well, Dream Week, I mean, I would say we either do something takeout and stay at home, but just have some time with the two of us, or go out. How about like every other week? I mean, I feel like I could totally do that.
All right, I'm going to put that Friday night. All right. Now you work too, Dawn. Well, I guess we don't even have family time in here. Let me get a different color. We need.
Yeah. So
Okay.
now we're going to talk about kids.
Yes. Now we're talking family, not kids' activities. So, and you're a therapist, so you tell us how much time a day.
Family therapist. So family time is huge.
Okay.
And so I will be totally honest, this may just really surprise people, but we do not like to have evening commitments, period. So we actually don't do sports activities on a regular basis that take away from evenings. Part of that is because I work one evening per week, and then we have that youth group one evening per week. So really that only leaves a couple others.
Yeah.
And so I feel like family time really is, for me, like dinner time on. And I also would include, on an ideal week, I might get some one-on-one time with one of my kids per week, you know, where Ben or myself can kind of pour into their individual cup, if that makes sense.
Yes. And then the other days you have homeschooling. So some people have work on, every day, or homeschooling, or different commitments. You have loved ones you care for.
We forgot something huge.
Yeah.
Forgot something huge.
You're supposed to remember the big stuff.
I know. I was trying to blame you, apparently. We forgot self-care.
Oh, right.
We can't be effective people without some time for ourselves. Now, some of that is overlap with Jesus time for me, but I would also say we've got to make sure to plan some time for, so like for me, it's working out. So I do that daily. It might be like getting away with a girlfriend for coffee once a week, or it could be a pedicure on a rare week. It could be something along those lines. But on a daily basis, I feel like it's maybe even just a cup of coffee while sitting down.
Absolutely. I'm going to put it towards the end of the day because our calendar is really filling up here. In all seriousness, how much time as women, as moms, as people who are constantly giving, if I really want to be healthy, I want to be the best mom I can be, the best friend and sister and wife, how much time on a daily basis, and then bigger chunks during the week, do we need for that?
I feel like, honestly, 15 to 30 minutes every day, at least, bare minimum. And I think what's tricky is figuring out what kind of ministers to your heart, what refreshes you, and asking yourself that question, and then working backwards, because some things are going to take more time. Other things you can do for just a few minutes, like it could be a walk outside and you feel like, okay, feel a little bit more refreshed and grounded. So people might have to kind of reverse engineer that one, but to make a block for that before we go off and take on other things. Wow.
Right. So this is great, Dawn, because it looks like we have some time on Saturday is a little free time. I can do this backwards. And then Sunday we have a little free time. I was hoping this would be a good visual for if you feel like you can't do it all, we can't do it all.
No.
Right?
Right.
And that most of us, like you said, get caught reacting. And will you even just share with us a little bit, because you've had some turmoil recently with you and your husband about figuring out your extracurricular schedule with your kids?
So we were trying to consider, we've got the 3 kids, and one of them likes to figure skate. One of them wanted to do swimming club, and then we have another one with flag football. And it kind of took care of itself. But the first thing that we did is we prayed. And we asked God to just guide our decisions, because nothing was kind of lining up. And I really was going from the gut or the spirit inside of me going, okay, what feels good?
Yeah.
And figure skating wasn't happening. So we were like, okay, we're just going to let it go. We just got to let it go. But then my middle son was struggling in homeschooling. I noticed that there was sort of this, I don't know what to call it, but sort of a lack of grit.
Yeah.
Kind of just not knowing how to dig deep and so forth. And so we started tossing around the ideas of like, how can we get at that character trait and help him to grow? Mm-hmm. And one of the ideas was to sign him up for this swim club. And so we went and had the little tryout, and we got all the information, and it met 3 nights a week for an hour and a half each night. And it was extremely expensive. Mm-hmm. And my husband and I looked at each other and we were like, while we think this activity could be valuable, we aren't willing to sacrifice the values that we hold around family time in order to meet the need that way. So we decided, let it go. And so we'll just develop grit in other ways, perhaps through yard work.
Well, Dawn, we should mention too, I mean, your husband was an athlete all through, I think he had a state record until recently, right? So it's not like you're a family that doesn't care about sports. Like I would imagine his kids playing all the sports growing up. But what's interesting, I read a study a little while back, and it said the number one thing that kids are worried about right now, school age and older, is actually their parents and how stressed out their parents are. And it used to be they worried about getting time with their parents, and that was the number one thing they were looking for, was time with their parents. Now the number one thing they want is for their parents to be less stressed out and less worried.
Yes.
And so I know how we elevate extracurriculars. We think our kids need that to be well-rounded. We want them to be socialized. We want them to have these skills. We don't want them to be mad at us later in life because they didn't get to do it. But I think we're missing the fact that our kids are also picking up on our stress levels. And if we're not getting that time for ourselves, we can't help it. None of us are robots. Like our emotions are going to come out and our stress is going to come out and they're going to pick up on it. I also just realized we did not put like grocery shopping and meal prep and cooking. We're decluttering. And so I understand why Angela is saying, when the heck am I supposed to declutter? Right? It's like, midnight on Sunday, Angela, there's an opening.
Right. It's so true. I feel like the temptation is to do more and think that it is going to be more. But I want to say to Angela and like every other person who's listening that you are actually empowered to choose to live according to your values and to actually believe that less is more.
Yeah.
I really believe that when she decides, when anyone decides to declutter their schedule in the name of sanity and peace and an empowered lifestyle that supports their values, I really feel like she's actually giving her kids a gift, not punishing them. And so that's the positive reframe is instead of looking at it as punishment, could we look at it as an invitation into a family goal? Because another thing that came to mind when you shared that email with me was, why is this just Angela's problem? I believe it's the whole family that created the clutter. So can't the whole family sit down and look at a bin? Now, maybe not the 3-year-old, but the 8-year-old for sure could be part of that process. And they could learn a lot of things about how valuable they are to the family and also to just learn skills and have quality time. I mean, there's a lot that Angela could be ticking boxes for as they're decluttering together.
And I think too, I know some people have found themselves in this schedule, and you have older kids now and they're in competitive sports, and you're like, well, that's a great idea to just think I'm going to yank them out now. And that's not. But I think then, okay, we are 100% validating you can't do it all, but you still need to figure out ways to like insert the self-care, even if it's carpooling, understanding you just have to buy meals, a healthy meal service or something like something has to give. And so you can't do it all. Like you just can't.
Yes. And I really feel like the best advice that I ever heard was to be completely unapologetic about that. Really, just to be unapologetic about self-care. It's just not going to work. Here's what I need. Who do I need to ask for help? To really be empowered. And again, not to feel victimized
Yeah.
by our task list or by the schedule, because it's very tempting. Very tempting, even for healthy people, to fall into that and to really feel like, oh my gosh, this is all happening to me and I'm so overwhelmed. And instead we could say, well, what do I need to let go of? And who do I need to ask for help so that I can meet my needs? Because you're exactly right. What kind of people are we if we're constantly stressed and beyond our limits? That's no way to live.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Dawn, it's been so fun. And again, no guilt, right? Like, we are not here to make anyone feel guilty. We're just, you might even want to like write this all out and show it to like your spouse or partner or other people in your house. Like, oh, I figured out why I'm so stressed out all this time. So, complete validation. And we're just here to support you and cheer you on. So if you are looking for more encouragement, I hope you check out Dawn's channel. We also want to say we love Mary Beth so much. Everything that she shares here is just gold. So we're so glad that you support her and cheer her on and all of that too. So Dawn, it was great to visit with you today, and I'm sure we'll get to see more of you soon.
Yes, thanks for having me, Dawn.